There were two main causes of the Great Depression, the first being the time period before the Depression when they were buying way too much on credit. This means that the values of those products, stocks, or homes lost value and they would be out of luck. The second main cause was overproduction. Factories had too much merchandise to sell and they could not get it off the lot, causing mass job loss. One social effect of the Great Depression was the loss of class status. This meant that your friend in the 20s was the next day very much below you or very much above you in social and monetary status. One economic effect was that the people owning everything in stocks, bonds, and funds lost most of their money in one day. This created a large gap between the rich and the poor. One psychological effect was the separation of families. This took a huge toll on families. America gave loans to European powers to fight World War I. After America couldn't give loans to Germany to pay back the United Kingdom, then the world economy fell through. In the U.S., Franklin Delano Roosevelt had a quick response to revive the economy. Well, in the United Kingdom and France, they looked at the jobs aspect and put people back to work. FDR's Revolutionary New Deal was introduced to the U.S. to get the economy back on track. Originally, it was called socialist by many. FDR revived a nation from near death. One program that's still in existence is the Securities Exchange Commission. This still helps regulate today, and its effects can be seen as recently as the arrest of Bernie Madoff. As America turned to Franklin Delano Roosevelt to solve their troubles, over across the oceans, England and France were experimenting with socialism, the equivalent to a mixed market economy. Germany and Japan were experimenting with fascism. Germany's fascist leader was Adolf Hitler, and Japan's Tojo. Mostly brought on by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The political change was a vast shift to bigger government and liberal minds. The economic change was switching to a more controlled government economy, a command economy. FDR's actions were the main causes of these, as can be seen by the creation of several agencies to keep the economy from failing and to help get people back on track for employment. Some of these programs, however, did not get to their full potential, as throughout the 30s, the unemployment rate stayed between 19% and 12%. After the Treaty of Versailles, Germany,
and we will do our best.
and Italy felt left out. These three would go on to form the Axis powers. Germany and Japan, as you heard before, turned to fascism. Germany threatened to go to war very often, and the Allies gave them land like the Sudetenland as appeasement. And these ended up causing World War II, as soon as Germany tried to invade Poland, the Allies struck back. The Allies saw the rise of fascism in Europe and Asia. However, coming off of World War I, the Allies did not want to go back into another war with Germany. This would cause massive economic turmoil, they thought, and destroy the world. There were two
We
main
interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor
and Pacific theaters. One major military action of the Pacific theater was the Battle of Midway. Midway was a small island midway between the United States and Japan. Japan's possession of this island would have the ability to A. cut off American supplies, and B. be that much closer to American homeland soil. And this battle was hard fought, and a lot of men were lost. However, the U.S. maintained control of the island, and that could have been a huge turning point in the Pacific battle. In the European theater, one major battle was Stalingrad. Stalingrad was the Russians' defense of their homeland. The German military tried to take a small town called Stalingrad, and the Russians lost over 1 million men there, but however, they did maintain control of their land and of their city. Some of the military technology advancements in this war were mainly made by Germany. The jet aircraft, the V-2 rocket, were two of Germany's very good advancements. They also made the advancement of the machine gun. The US and FDR originally wanted to stay isolationist and neutral. However, the UK wanted the Americans' help with supplying supplies and military supplies. So, the United States signed the Lease Act, which allowed them to send weapons and food to Britain. After Pearl Harbor, of course. Then, the US went into full-on war against Japan, and a little bit later, declared war on Germany. America changed vastly on the home front during World War II and in the 40s. Economically, America's government grew, giving more derivatives and incentives to work, as well as socially and culturally for women, African Americans, youth, and Japanese Americans and Mexican Americans. They were given more job opportunities and more freedoms. Women and African Americans famously worked in the factories during World War II as all the white men were gone. The youth got more jobs as well. Japanese Americans, however, did not have the brightest future in World War II after being put in the internment camps. They were released later in the war, but spent at least half of the war in these internment camps. President Harry S. Truman of the United States of America was faced with a very tough decision: the dropping of the atomic bombs on Japanese cities to end World War II. The arguments for the bomb were, of course, it would save lives and prevent a full-scale invasion of Japan if they would not surrender. Against the bomb, the start of nuclear warfare, and the fact that radiation would be on that land for years to come. Now, in the long run, dropping the bombs and forcing Japan to surrender were great because they caused World War II to end, and there was no more conflict throughout the war or throughout the world for a short period of time. As we look back on it today, one of the short-term effects was that the USSR and the Soviet Union had control over Eastern Europe, inflicting them with communism. That also had a vast impact on what we consider to be short-term now, the Cold War. One of the more long-term effects, however, which is still in existence today, was the creation of Israel, a Jewish state. This was placed in what was believed to be their Holy Land, but the one drawback to this, it is surrounded by Muslim nations. Also a long-term effect, the United Nations. The United Nations, of course, is still running today, and it helps prevent conflicts day after day.